Top of the morning, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Errol the Truth Spence. When asked about Yordenis Ugas, he had this to say. He said, Ugas is a great fighter, but outside the hardcore fans, nobody knows him. Wow. Errol Spence considers Yordenis Ugas a worthy welterweight contender. Ugas nearly upset Sean Porter in their 12-round fight for Porter's WBC title in March of 2019. The Cuban challenger's split decision defeat to Porter is Ugas' lone loss in his past 11 fights, or only loss. Spence still doesn't expect to square off against Ugas in the foreseeable future. The unbeaten IBF and WBC welterweight champion wants bigger fights against the likes of Manny Pacquiao, Terrence Crawford, and Danny Garcia. Spence, 26-0 with 21 KOs, noted during his recent episode. He said Ugas has a low profile, pushes him down on the list of opponents Spence expects to fight. He says Ugas is a good fighter. He's a very good fighter. I think he's a guy that that's always extremely focused. He has the Cuban training factor where he's always training, but always focused is like he's always in shape. But as far as big names, he's not a big name. I think that's the only knock to him. A great fighter, but not a big name. I mean, he's not Danny Garcia, not Pacquiao. He's not Terrence Crawford. That the only knock to him, once he gets there, once he gets behind me, then I'll turn around and we'll fight. But right now, it's not a guy that I'm just going to be calling out to fight because hardcore boxing people know him. But outside that, nobody knows him. Ugas is 33 years old, 25-4-12, and he's the third-ranked contender for Spence's championship title on the WBC side. Okay, he also is rated number 1 amongst the WBA's top 15 challenges for Pacquiao's crown, but Ugas hasn't been mentioned as a potential opponent for Pacquiao either. Wow. So we have Errol Spence. Errol Spence wants bigger names. He doesn't want a tune-up. He wants to get in there and fight guys like Manny Pacquiao, Danny Garcia, and at the very, very end, you have Terrence Crawford. Now, I think Spence is at this point, I would really want him to do a tune-up at this, point. A lot of times, he fought Sean Porter, and then then he got in that wreck, and everybody, everybody's heart went out for him. And I really didn't expect him to really come back like he did or expect him to get in a high caliber fight. But the problem is he's a unified welterweight champion. So you have people that are coming on all sides that really want to fight him. Ugas is number 3. And I think Ugas deserves it. And I think that Errol Spence was a guy that he feels that nobody wanted to fight him over there, which they didn't. It took him a very long time to fight those guys. But let me say this. With Errol Spence saying that Ugas is not on the radar right now, it's like him saying I can duck him as long as I need be. See, a guy that's 33 years of age needs to fight right now. Like those guys like Terrence Crawford, Lomachenko, or Yordenis Ugas, those guys they need to fight now. They don't need to wait 2 to 3 years because you don't know how many high profile and high caliber fights they really have left in them. Because by the time you get about 35, people start looking at you. He's 33. People start looking at you funny. Reflexes started changing. When you get past 30, normally for any average guy, your reflexes and your testosterone and all those things started to they're starting on the decline. But I think Ugas is a guy that would give Errol Spence problems. I think it would be a good barometer if he does intend on fighting somebody like Terrence Crawford. Okay, because Terrence Crawford is a switch hitter. Yordenis Ugas is a southpaw, right? And I believe he's a southpaw. But he's a very tough customer. And I think with the height, because that's another thing, with the height and the size, he can get, and he also loves to go to the body. It would be a very good fight. I think the last thing, honestly, me counterpunching Errol Spence. The last thing Errol Spence should do is talk about how he doesn't want a tune-up, but then will duck Ugas. See, that's the problem. Because you went balls to the wall with Sean Porter, had a hell of a fight with Sean Porter, before the wreck, mind you. And I think the knockdown is what gave him the edge, to me. The only thing that I can see, because he did drop Sean Porter like a quick, subtle knockdown. But that quick, subtle knockdown was a knockdown. He hit him, and he hit Sean Porter, and Sean Porter was like, for like maybe a second, like, yeah. I mean, his head went over, and you could see his eyes roll back. So that punch affected him. And I think that's what saved him. If it wasn't for that, it would be no doubt Sean Porter outworked him. However, Sean Porter, I feel, lost to Ugas. That was a knockdown. It wasn't ruled a knockdown. Tyson Fury hit Deontay Wilder the same way, and that was a knockdown. So by omission, if you compare those two fights, Sean Porter went down the same way that Deontay Wilder did. You know what I mean? So I always thought that Cuban fighters don't really get, a fair shake. They don't have a country behind them. This guy's not like a Mikey Garcia. These guys are not like Mikey Garcia or Barrera or Canelo, because those guys have a country behind them that supports them. Cuba does not support professional boxing. They hate on it. They spit on it. I don't know, communist bullshit, but they don't like it. Okay, so they don't have that backup factor. Everything that they had to earn it here. So everybody that's seen them fight, they don't have anyone back home that's saying, sigue cubano or whatever, you know what I mean? But it's one of those unfortunate things. But Errol Spence, I think if he doesn't want to cater to the fact of not having a tune-up, he should fight Ugas. And he mentions Keith Thurman too, and like, oh, Keith don't want to fight me, and he's on the shit list, and this, that, and the other. But then, honestly, it's like, okay, how long are you going to beat a dead horse? How long are you going to talk about Keith Thurman if he doesn't want to fight you? He doesn't have anything to offer you. You say strap season, get his name off of there. Worry about it, and really Pacquiao can do what he wants, because for all we know, Pacquiao does not even have to fight on the PBC side. So if he wanted to fight Manny Pacquiao, you think Errol Spence is going to run to another network if Manny Pacquiao does, just to get a fight with Manny Pacquiao? That's the question you ask yourself. Well, I don't want a tune-up. Okay, great. That might be your demise, because you don't know how you're going to get hit with a punch from Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao's talking about fighting Triple G. You think Triple G is, where does Triple G fight on, people? The Zone. So that means Manny Pacquiao can go fight on the Zone, right? And, be in negotiations with Eddie Hearn. And that fight could happen, and that would be a big fight for both fighters, right? Because Golovkin never went anywhere. He's always stayed at middleweight. I don't know if they'll come with a catch weight or whatever. Maybe that might be the case. But back to Errol Spence, you think he's going to follow that? No, he's going to stay on the Fox side, because guys like him, Danny Garcia, they're loyal to Fox now. Those are Fox guys. Okay, PBC Fox. They're not going to go over there fighting that. So I think he should focus on fighting the best. If he wants to fight somebody, he needs to fight either Terrence Crawford. Okay, he's talking about big names and Danny Garcia, because I know he has Danny Garcia on his next fight. That was supposed to be his next fight, but, he wants big names. I get that, but then here's the thing. You get to a point in your career where you blast someone else like he did Keith Thurman for not wanting to fight you, and then you turn around and do the exact same thing for the next good fighter that wants to fight you, you're no better than that other fighter is. So I think he is pulling a Keith Thurman. You'll blast Keith Thurman. Oh, Keith Thurman don't want to fight me. But then you turn around and say the same shit about fighters that want to fight you, that are hungry just like you were. And you have to fight each and every one. So if you're not trying to get to make that Terrence Crawford fight, and Terrence Crawford don't really want to fight Errol Spence now because he goes in there and beats Errol Spence, he won't get credit for it. And I could see what he's talking about because people are going to make that excuse that he wasn't ready after the wreck. He didn't have no broken bones. Hallelujah, that's a blessing. But at the end of the day, okay, it's one of those things where Ugas is just good, he's good enough to be a good competitor and a great challenge and not considered a tune-up if you can't get one of those big guys in the ring. But anyway, that's my counterpunch on that, guys. You guys tell me what you think about Errol Spence. Comments. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunching. Peace.